shooting, eyewear, and considerations on this episode of 6'5 Guys.
This episode of 6'5 Guys is brought to you by Defiance Machine, defying tradition with innovation. Our Bros Rifles, precision on another level. JC Steel Targets, the industry leader in quality AR-500 steel targets.
Welcome to 6'5 Guys. I'm Steve Lawrence.
And I'm Ed Mobley.
Guys, oftentimes we have a lot of questions around shooting glasses. We've had a number of ones that we've tried and like, so this is a chance for us to take a look and see what our journey has been with eye protection.
And Steve, you've probably had the most comprehensive journey. So I mean, I was lucky enough to find something I liked, quite some time ago. Mm-hmm. But you had, I guess a bit of, you tried some different things. So
exactly.
So let's start out with.
Well, a lot of it is, guys might have started off with something similar to this, which are just ballistic eye protection. These are in fact Wiley X. And this is the type of shooting glasses, or what you typically find at Home Depot or whatnot. You can get for $5 or $6. I think these cost me $30. But my eyesight actually changed. So I actually used to wear these a number of years ago, but as I entered my 50s, my eyesight started to degrade. I actually got LASIK in 2003, and that lasted really well for a number of years. But once I hit my 50s, I started to notice that my vision wasn't quite as crisp.
Important to emphasize, you mentioned like just a Home Depot pair of glasses. I mean, you've got to wear eye protection, and you can go to Home Depot and you can get ANSI grade lenses, and it would protect you from like an errant nail from a nail gun, and so that's exactly what you would want for shooting.
Right. Now, once I realized that these weren't going to cut it, and particularly if I wanted to hit a target and I can't see it, I needed to get some sort of prescription within a lens. And so the first thing I turned to was these glasses, which you may have seen me wear. These are the Oakley Flak Jacket 2.0 XLJs. The XLJs are a little bit bigger. They flare out at the bottom here. And these are in the Tint Persimmon, which is their recommended color for shooting. It actually enhances the contrast in the type of weather we shoot in. So if it's overcast, this will actually bring the contrast out so you can actually see things, shapes, and differences in contrast a little bit sharper.
But they also work in sunny desert conditions as well. It's kind of like a good overall color. It's very similar to what I've seen other manufacturers suggest.
Now, because these actually have the prescription built in, it gave me everything that this did. Some ballistic protection, right? It does wrap around quite a bit. So things coming in the side, you're going to be much more protected than just wearing regular glasses. But what I noticed, particularly in shooting a rifle, was when you get down on the rifle and you're peering through a scope, oftentimes you're looking through the top of the lens.
Yeah. Well, and also the frames too. I mean, they are thicker, and I've noticed that at times you've commented that when you wear over the ear hearing protection, it tends to press against it, and it's uncomfortable after a period of time.
It is, yeah. So because my employer gives me a great eyewear benefit, so every year, they will help pay for a new set of prescription eyewear. I will often get, instead of regular prescription glasses, I'll get prescription shooting glasses. So from there, I actually went to this because I wanted some glasses for driving, and I thought I would go with a little bit more of a darker tint. Now these are the Oakleys again. The model is the taper, is the frame, and the lens color is the G28. The G28 has a brown base color, but it's more rose tinted. This particular color is supposed to be ideal for filtering blue light to boost contrast, enhance depth, and features an iridium coating to reduce glare and light transmission. And it improves contrast in blues and greens. So this is the ideal color for golf. But we do shoot in green conditions oftentimes in the spring. So I wanted to get something a little bit different. You'll notice that the frames are a little bit thinner.
So better for the over-the-ear.
Exactly, so they're not digging in quite so much. But the protection, ballistic protection, isn't ideal. And I still have kind of the issue of peering through the top of the glass when I'm in a prone position on the rifle.
Now for both of those brands that you just went over, what about fogging? What has been your experience with the
No
lenses
fogging on this, but what I did notice is when you are wearing sports glasses like these, because they ride so close to my face, when you do perspire heavily in humid conditions, or if it's particularly cold, you'll get a little bit of fogging. So never had that problem with these, but with these...
You had a fogging issue.
I did have a fogging issue from time to time. Again, the next year, I decided to, again, try something else. So again, I went with Oakley's. Starting to see a theme here, right? These are the Bulldogs, is the particular frame style. And I bought the frames online and actually went to Lens Crafters to actually have the prescription made for these. So they sent them off to the Oakley lab in California with my prescription. And I had these done in these were the G30s. These are VR28s. So the VR28s is more of a kind of a light brown. Again, has a light iridium coating, which is that sort of that mirror finish on the front. I liked it just because I think they're a little bit stylish.
No, you look great.
But they're also cut. They have what they call an Asian cut, so they actually fit my face much better. I've tried some of the other ones, like the gas can and some of the models.
Do they have a redneck cut?
They might. I haven't checked. But you know, because I'm of you know, Asian origin, I do have sort of the high cheekbones. I noticed with some glasses, a lot of the glasses will tend to dig in to my face quite heavily. In fact, you know, the perfect example is these. Again, Oakley prescription glasses. These are the Bottle Rockets. The lens color on this is the, I think it's the dark Iridiums. So this filters out quite a bit of light, and these are polarized. And I got these particularly for either driving, because you get a lot of glare.
I think they'd be great for driving.
Yeah, the contrast off on the road, particularly if you get a lot of glare off the road, that polarization will filter that out. Now, I would not recommend polarization for shooting glasses for that reason, because that polarization cuts that glare. So what happens is light hits at a particular angle, and then it will scatter when it bounces off a surface, and that glare gets cut out by that polarization. It works very effectively, but also what it'll do is if you're looking through a scope,
well, it cuts the light out. It cuts the available light.
So you're going to have much less contrast to see things. But as I mentioned, these, what I noticed when I actually got them with the lenses in, you'll see they're actually resting on my face.
Right, right.
So anytime I'm perspiring heavily, these will fog up very easily, and they will actually dig into my cheeks. So you'll see it, you know, if I wear these a couple of hours, you'll actually see impressions on my cheeks. So,
and again, like the other ones, I would imagine when shooting prone, you're still looking into the frame, and I would imagine these particularly, again, that thick frame, they kind of dig in.
That's right.
Yeah,
they do dig in. I mean, you can actually see, you know, they are pretty thick on the side, so over the ear protection is just going to press these temples right into your head. So then I went to address the perspiration problem and the fact that the frame sits across the brow. I again looked at Wiley X, and this particular brand from Wiley X, they offer to the military. So if you've been downrange to the sandbox, in fact, these are typical issue. These are the XL1 gray clear, and it does have, you'll notice this foam insert. So you get a foam insert along here that this will pull out, but it's ribbed to allow ventilation. So if you have a little bit of a breezy condition, that cross ventilation will help keep some of the fogging down. And then they also give you, when you buy the glasses, an anti-fog coating. So you get like a couple dozen wipes that you can apply the anti-fog chemical onto the lens itself to help mitigate any type of fogging. But I noticed when I first put these on, you had a good laugh.
Well, no, I mean, I knew you spent some good money on them, but you kind of look. Honestly, I thought you'd left on your swim goggles.
Okay.
But you also experienced some fogging.
Yeah, in fact, you'll notice that right now. I mean, here we are sitting in the room, and if I wear these, you'll actually start to see them fog up a little bit. They're not, the anti-fogging doesn't work perfectly. The other thing that I did with this particular lens versus the Oakley was I did get these with the lenses that will change color with the sunlight.
Right.
So they're photosensitive. So in daylight conditions or at night, if I decided to drive, I could actually wear these just as regular glasses. But as I go out into the sun or out of a building, they will actually turn quite dark. And so dark, in fact, they would almost look like these. So I thought that was kind of a neat feature. I wanted to try that. I haven't given up on these. I think these actually work fairly well. But as you mentioned, you kind of miss out on that cool factor.
Well, but also you're going to be looking over the frame.
Well, that's one of the things about this design is you'll notice instead of the kind of the flat top, it does come up a little bit higher.
So it's a little better.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. And the temples, you'll notice, are flat.
A little thinner. Okay,
yeah, a little bit thinner. So over the ear protection, I'm not going to have some of those problems. Then the last ones I got. And
which I assume you're going to stay with probably for a while.
For a while. For this year. Are the Decot Hy-Wyd. But I'm not going to steal your thunder because I know you're the one that recommended these to me. In fact, when we went to SHOT Show last year, we met with the rep. And the only thing I'll mention about these is I have been quite happy with them. They offer you the ballistic protection. But these are bifocals. And again, one thing, as I've aged is these help correct that far vision because I'm nearsighted. But if you're wearing corrective lenses, when you look at anything close, like you're trying to write up a dope card or whatnot, I've always had to take my glasses and flip them up on top of my head so I actually could see. Mm-hmm. Now with these, when I put them on, I don't have the problem. I just have to look through the lower portion of the lens.
And you look great.
When I first put these on, my wife had a good laugh. She said it made me look like an old man. So. But no, I like these. These are very effective. And again, there's this neat feature with the nose bridge, which you'll talk about here in a moment. But one last thing about the lenses, in terms of recommendations, things that I've learned is, if you're going to get them for shooting, you don't want polarization.
Correct. Yeah.
You want to address fogging issues. Two is you'll want a lens that if you're going to do a lot of prone shooting through a scope, when you peer through them, you're not looking at the top of the frame.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of shooters, and a lot of them, they just seem to tolerate that, and I just find that to be a showstopper. I mean, you want to see everything in that scope, particularly when you're trying to spot a shot, mm-hmm. and I think cutting out a quarter to a third of what you see through your scope, I mean, I think is pretty problematic.
Yeah. Well, great. Why don't we go to you?
Okay, let's take a look at the Decot Hy-Wyds. I've had the Decot Hy-Wyds since 2008, And you know, while I had LASIK back in 2010, which removed my need to have prescription lenses, although now I'm starting to wear reading glasses, at least outdoors. I don't need the reading glasses. But when I got these back in 2008, I had 6 diopters of astigmatism. And that was a lot. And a lot of the other glasses at the time just could not accommodate that level of prescription, particularly for the astigmatism. But another thing that I really wanted is, you know, I wanted a set of glasses where, you know, I'm actually looking through the center of the prescription. Yeah. And that was really important given all of the astigmatism that I had, but it also had the benefit of, you know, you're not looking over the frame. And so the Decot Hy-Wyds allowed for that, particularly in prone, because you've got a nose bridge here that's adjustable. Yeah. So you can move it to position the glasses just perfectly. Yeah. And
so the glasses will sit higher or lower on your face.
Exactly. And so you can make sure that you are looking through the exact center of that prescription. But what I also liked about it is, you know, because they're purpose made for shooting, you've got really nice thin, I think this part is called the I don't know what part of the frame this is called, but they're nice and thin so that when you have hearing protection over it, it doesn't cause a problem. And then, of course, you know, these loops, as you put them on,
yeah, they're very flexible.
Yeah, they're flexible, but they're not going to come off. Another thing that's very nice about these glasses is the lenses can easily be
swapped out.
Yeah, they can easily be interchanged. And as I'll show you on some of these other models.
Now, because you don't require a prescription at this point.
Correct.
Do you have different colors? Do you use different colors for different situations?
I've just settled for the bronze. I do have other colors which I've tried, but honestly, the bronze, for the same reason that you chose that in you know, even the Oakleys, just seems to be a good universal color. And when you go up to their website, they even have an app where you can look at different targets through different colors of lenses and find what's best for you. But you can also call them up and consult. And so they sell these glasses all around the, you know, North America, and I would assume the world. So, you know, they're extremely helpful when you call them up. And if you are going to get a prescription, one parameter that you want to get from your ophthalmologist is the interpupillary distance. That's really important so that they can make sure that you are indeed looking through the center of that prescription. Yep. So again, these are the Hy-Wyds. You can get them with or without the adjustable nose bridge. I highly recommend you get them with the adjustable nose bridge. But then they also have some other models here. They have the Golf, which again, very similar frame construction.
But the lens looks a little bit, not as square.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, they're, you know, they don't look as, you know, like your
grandpa's glasses.
Grandpa's glasses, right? And I think for like pistol shooting or anything where you would be standing up, I think these are terrific. But if you get down to prone, sometimes you can find yourself still, you know, looking over the frame.
Because I think, is my understanding when I look through their catalog and buying these, the ones with the adjustable nose bridge, this model that we both have, the lens shape is set. I mean, that's it. If you get this frame, this is the lens shape you're going to get.
Well, that is correct. And then they also have another model which is called the Revel. So it has a different lens shape. Again, it does not have the adjustable nose bridge. But the one thing I really like about all of these glasses, and you know, having grown up in Florida, is glasses will fog like crazy, I mean, because you're always sweating. And all of these, the lenses are set out just a little bit, so you get plenty of ventilation.
And I can attest to that fact. These have never fogged.
Yeah,
I've never had that problem.
They will not fog.
Yeah.
Now some folks might, criticize the design and say, well, what if you get stuff, coming in from the sides, and that's a fair cop. But they also will give you little pieces of plastic that you can wear on the side. Yeah, that you can wear on the side if that worries you. But the reality is, I mean, most of what you're going to see is backsplash from maybe shooting at a steel target or a ruptured primer. Where you're going to get gas, towards your eyes. So I don't have as comprehensive of a collection as you do, because I found these first and I just stuck with them.
Well, in fact, these may actually be the last pair of shooting glasses I may ever need. The only drawback for me is it's one of style.
Well, but again, I mean, for me, I was driven purely by utility, and style was second. And yeah, I mean, I would probably have a different pair of driving glasses, or if I wanted to look, really cool, I guess, right? But no, I mean, this is about utility and functionality. Right. And in case anybody asks, we don't have any sponsorship or any relationship with Decot, so we're not. Shilling for them. If
Oakley wants to throw some glasses our way, I'll wear them. So
I mean, I'll wear them too for driving, but not shooting. So that's pretty much been my journey and my experience. And again, I think if at some point I require reading glasses outdoors, just like you did, you can either get them in bifocals or progressives, and from looking here, they even do trifocal if you like that. They have polycarbonate or CR39, higher impact lenses.
Yeah.
And again, when you call them up, I mean, they are just super, super, super helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we haven't talked about are two things that are probably important to cover. One is ballistic eye protection. So even though a lot of the glasses that you're shooting up here do offer eye protection, they may not be fully rated in terms of passing what's called the ANSI Z87.1, which is a standard that was set in 2010. I think the previous version from ANSI was set in 2003. But they actually undergo a specific set of tests in order to pass a deflection rating of stuff coming at you.
Right.
So that the glass is impact resistant and so on. Now I know the Wiley X and some of these will pass them, others are not, although it doesn't mean just because you don't have the ANSI protection that it's not going to provide some level of protection, but that's one thing that's important to note. The other is light transmission through the lens. So even though you have a clear lens like this, the fact that light is going through that plastic medium, some of that light's going to get cut out. So if you have a clear lens, oftentimes these will be a light transmission of about 90+%. The next one would be something like a yellow lens. These would be around a 90 or high 80s in terms of light transmission. When you go something darker like the G30s, these have a light transmission of 30%, VR28, 28%, and then if you get down to something that's polarized and super dark, you're looking at probably in the 20 to 15% range. So a lot of light gets cut down. Less light basically means there's less contrast to work with in terms of being able to make out shapes and colors and things like that.
Well, I mean, like many things in life, I mean, there are trade-offs, right?
Yeah.
So living here in the Pacific Northwest, you're probably going to want a lighter tint where you can maximize your light transmission. I mean, if you're in, say, the American Southwest where it's blazingly bright most of the time, well, you know, maybe you want to go with a darker tint, and you know, the consequence would be maybe slightly less light transmission. But you know, whether you go with Decot or some of the other, you know, purpose-made shooting glasses, I mean, call them up and talk to them about that. And you can again determine, you know, what is best for the type of targets you're shooting at and the type of environment you're usually in.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, hopefully you found that helpful. We're going to have a full write-up on our website, 65guys.com, as we do for all of our videos.
And if you found this interesting and informative, feel free to share it with your friends on YouTube or Facebook, and check us out on Twitter.
Remember, folks, life's an adventure.
Stay on target.